Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 354 based on novel. So let's start. The origin crystals belong to me personally. I don't need to report this to your Luo sect. An ancient voice came from the distance and then a ray of light landed next to Ouyang Long, revealing it to be Master Ashen Pine. The youth in yellow snorted and said, 35,000 origin crystals. 40,000. Master Ashen Pine was very calm, as if these 40,000 origin crystals were insignificant to him. This abnormal scene immediately caused the surrounding cultivators to look at Master Ashen Pine in shock. Master Ashen Sect was a head elder of the treasured Jade Sect who didn't even need to give face to the sect master. He had many direct disciples and had enough power to confront the sect master. However, he was very low-key, so the sect master had never asked about all the celestial jades and origin crystals he had gathered. 50,000 origin crystals. The youth in yellow stared at Master Ashen Pine and clenched his teeth. Master Ashen Pine sneered. He didn't care about exposing the fact that he had a large amount of origin crystals and catching the attention of the upper regions. After today, he will leave and will likely never return to Penglai. Not to mention his chance of success will be much greater this time. Once he succeeds, his cultivation level will increase greatly, and after that, he will have nothing to fear. Master Ashen Pine had his hands behind his back as he calmly said, 60,000. You? The youth in yellow took a deep breath. After thinking for a moment, he was about to offer 70,000. Master Ashen Pine coldly looked at the youth in yellow and suddenly smiled. Your Luo sect didn't bring many people and the trip back to the rank 7 region is far. You should be careful on your way back. The surroundings immediately became very quiet and their gazes fell on Master Ashen Pine. It was extremely rare for someone to threaten someone from the rank 7 sects. What backing does this Master Ashen Pine have to dare to be so bold? The youth in yellow looked at Master Ashen Pine. After a long time, he let out a cold snort and flew off into the horizon. Master Ashen Pine's expression was neutral as he clasped his hands at Wang Lin. He then threw out a bag and then reached out toward the suit of armor. The armor flew into his hand, and after taking a closer look, he revealed a smile. Fellow cultivator Lu, the deposit is in the bag as well. A total of 80,000 origin crystals. Let us go. Wang Lin caught the bag and scanned it with his divine sense before quietly putting it away. Master Ashen Pine had a high cultivation level and was very cunning. He was also a ruthless person. However, no matter how cunning he was, he couldn't match the All-Seer. Wang Lin had even dared to fight against the All-Seer, so how could he be afraid of a mere Master Ashen Pine? After nodding slightly, Wang Lin stepped forward and flew off into the sky. Master Ashen Pine smiled and flew off as well. He and Wang Lin disappeared into the horizon. Due to this, no one else was in the mood to continue this auction and all left. After leaving Penglai, Wang Lin and Master Ashen Pine moved at an extreme speed through the star fog. Just at this moment, the sound of a flute echoed in the fog. The star fog in the distance churned and the blue-haired Li Qianmai slowly walked out and smiled. Wang Lin stopped and pondered a bit. He turned toward Master Ashen Pine and slowly said, Fellow cultivator Ashen Pine, go first. I'll catch up a bit later. Master Ashen Pine smiled and handed a jade to Wang Lin. He then laughed and said, Fellow cultivator Lu can go to the location marked on the map. A few old friends of mine will be waiting there. With that, he looked at Li Qianmai and clasped his hands before flying off into the fog. He wasn't worried Wang Lin wouldn't come. Wang Lin looked at Li Qianmai, and after pondering for a bit, he calmly said, Didn't you leave? Why did you come back? Li Qianmai blinked and whispered, I was going to leave, but I remember you said you were going to send me off. Wang Lin frowned and said, I'll send you off here. With your cultivation level, there shouldn't be much danger for you there, but you should still be cautious. Li Qianmai shook her head and said, Who knows? Perhaps we will never meet again after I leave. From teacher's tone, this outbreak seemed somewhat grave. Wang Lin silently pondered. Seeing that Wang Lin didn't intend to speak, Li Qianmai frowned. She looked at Wang Lin and let out a sigh. That Master Ashenpine is very secretive. I originally intended to go with you. Li Qianmai gently bit her lower lip as she looked at Wang Lin and took off an emerald bracelet from her right hand. You answered my 3 questions before and we agreed for me to give you 1 item per question. I haven't given you the 3rd item yet. This is a protective treasure. You should keep it to protect yourself. Li Qianmai handed the bracelet to Wang Lin. Wang Lin looked at Li Qianmai with a somewhat complicated look. He took the bracelet and took 1 glance at. It was still warm from Li Qianmai's body. He shook his head and returned it to Li Qianmai. Li Qianmai looked at Wang Lin and quietly asked, "Why won't you take it?" "It is too expensive, I can't afford it. If there is nothing else, I'll be leaving." With that, Wang Lin turned and was about to leave. Li Qianmai calmly threw the jade bracelet to the side. It turned into a ray of light and disappeared among the star fog. "Since you don't want it, then I don't want it either." Wang Lin silently looked at Li Qianmai. "Since you don't want my item, take back this painting." Li Qianmai waved her hand. A painting appeared and she handed it to Wang Lin. Li Qianmai calmly said, "The lake and river on the painting are beautiful, but it was lacking vitality, so I added a few things." After taking the painting, Wang Lin didn't open it, but after silently pondering for a bit, his right hand reached out. A crack to this storage space opened and a ray of golden light flew out. The ray of light landed in Wang Lin's hand. The golden light dissipated and turned into a pen. Wang Lin waved his hand and began to draw a rune with the pen. His hand didn't stop as he drew stroke after stroke. It wasn't until the rune was extremely complex that he stopped. This pen is a celestial treasure, and when used with this rune, you should be able to display shocking strength with your cultivation level. Wang Lin let the pen go. A golden light surrounded the pen as it floated in the void. No longer looking at Li Qianmai, Wang Lin turned around and flew off into the distance. "You answered my 3 questions. I won't let you escape." Li Qianmai smiled as she looked at where Wang Lin disappeared to. She picked up her flute, put it next to her mouth, and began to play. The sound of the flute echoed through the fog. When Wang Lin heard the flute in the distance, he looked at the painting in his hand. He opened it up and saw that the river and lake were no longer there. They had dried up and there were 2 fishes laying next to each other, keeping each other alive. Wang Lin frowned and revealed a wry smile. He put away the painting and flew away accompanied by the sound of the flute. After a long time, Li Qianmai put down the flute and waved her hand. She put away the golden pen and walked off into the void. Wang Lin moved like lightning according to the map Master Ashenpine had given him and dashed through the fog. However, a moment later, he stopped and stared straight ahead. In the fog not far from him there was a bright, emerald light, and there was a bracelet floating there. Not just Wang Lin, even Li Qianmai wouldn't have expected the bracelet that she had randomly thrown to end up along the route Wang Lin would take. Even if she had thrown it in the right direction, space was vast and filled with fog. Even though it had gone in the same direction, the chance of seeing it was like finding a needle in a haystack. Wang Lin silently looked at the jade bracelet for a long time before reaching out. The jade bracelet fell in his hand. He let out a sigh and flew away. There was a very small wild continent not far away from Penglai in the rank 5 region. There were no beasts there and cultivators rarely came here. However, right now there were 3 cultivators sitting there. "Master Ashenpine, the place is the most secretive place between us. Why do you want that person named Lu to come?" The person who spoke was the old man with a face filled with scars. He was the same old man that Wang Lin had met at Master Ashenpine's auction. Master Ashenpine sat there with a calm expression and said, "That person can use the War Spirit print. With him there, my chance of success will increase by 20%. In addition, I'll have to trouble fellow cultivator Zhao's spell to lead the way. After it's over, according to our previous agreement, fellow cultivator Zhao will get to choose 3 materials first." Master Ashenpine's gaze fell on another person. This was also someone Wang Lin was familiar with. It was the old woman in green. The old woman said with a hoarse voice, "I'll do my best." Just at this moment, the fog above the wild continent churned and a shrill laugh echoed. The fog was pushed aside and an old man wearing a black and white daoist robe with a crown on his head appeared. With just a few steps, he arrived next to the three of them as if he had used spatial bending. Just as this old man appeared, a dense smell of blood appeared. There were countless soul fragments hiding in the fog behind him. They would sometimes reveal their heads and let out bursts of silent yet mournful cries. "Master Ashenpine, I met some enemies along the way, so I was a bit late." The old man's face was pale, but his eyes gave off an eerie glow. "Master Cloud Soul." The eyes of the old man with the face covered in scars narrowed the moment he saw the crown. The face of the old man with the crown twitched and he revealed a gloomy smile. "Fellow cultivator Pang, we meet again." After that, he looked at the old woman, and in the end his gaze fell on Master Ashenpine. "Master Ashenpine, is it only the four of us?" Master Ashenpine licked his lips and slowly said, "There are 3 more. They should be here soon." Just after he spoke, the star fog churned once more and a person walked out. White robe, fluttering black hair, and an indifferent gaze. Wang Lin walked out from the fog and looked at the 4 of them. "A Nirvana Cleanser Jr.? Master Ashenpine, you want a Nirvana Cleanser Jr. to be involved in this?" Master Cloud Soul frowned. "He is not a Nirvana Cleanser Jr." Master Ashenpine smiled. "Oh." Master Cloud Soul's eyes lit up. When Wang Lin approached, he waved his right hand and the countless soul fragments charged at Wang Lin. Mid-stage Nirvana Shatterer. When Wang Lin got close, he looked at the old man with the crown and felt the monstrous killing intent from this old man. This person also used souls for his spells, and he was clearly a famous evil cultivator in the Cloud Sea. At this moment, as Master Cloud Soul waved his sleeves, an endless tide of soul fragments charged at Wang Lin to devour him. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. His right hand formed a fist and he threw a punch. A powerful force appeared and collided with those soul fragments. A thunderous rumble echoed and the surrounding star fog was all pushed back. A gust of wind blew by the soul fragments as they let out shrills, and a small portion of them immediately collapsed. Wang Lin's body flickered and he retreated 5 steps. Every step he took caused the earth to tremble and left deep footprints. After 5 steps, his face was a bit pale as he stared at Master Ashenpine and shouted, "Master Ashenpine, what is the meaning of this?" Master Ashenpine laughed as he stood up and waved his hand. There was a flash of gold light, and the gold light suddenly turned into thousands of flying sword. These flying sword linked together with a click to form a sword curtain and stopped Master Cloud soul fragments from attacking again. "Master Cloud Soul, fellow cultivator Lu is an honored guest I invited. I hope you will give his old man some face." Master Cloud Soul, who wore a crown, coldly looked at Wang Lin and revealed a fake smile. "You hide yourself, but you do have Nirvana Shatterer spells." As he spoke, his right hand reached out and the countless soul fragments gathered. They turned into 9 giant soul flames behind him. They gave off a crackling sound as they burned. "Fellow cultivator Lu, Master Cloud Soul is only testing your strength and has no malicious intent. Please don't mind." Master Ashenpine smiled and clasped his hands. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy and he didn't speak. He sat down not far from them and looked into the distance. He revealed no emotion on his face, making it impossible for outsiders to see what he was thinking. Master Ashenpine sneered in his heart. He and Master Cloud Soul looked at each other with subtle gazes and then quickly withdrew them. Master Cloud Soul sent a message into Master Ashenpine's ears. "This person does have the ability to kill Wu Qing, but there is still a gap between him and mid-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivators like us. If I attack on my own, I can kill him in 10 breaths of time. If we join together, we can kill him instantly." Master Ashenpine closed his eyes and sent out a message to Master Cloud Soul. "What makes me dread him the most isn't his possible identity as a member of the God sect. It's that he is obviously a Nirvana Cleanser cultivator, but his spell could instantly kill Wu Qing. He is obviously hiding his cultivation. If I don't know his true cultivation level, it might hinder things. However, after seeing you two fight, I'm a bit relieved. However, this person is extremely cunning, so once we enter, try to test him a few more times. Master Cloud Soul's eyes lit up in agreement. Wang Lin lowered his head while he sat there so no one could see the flash of coldness in his eyes. Although he looked like he had used full force, he was actually holding back. It would not be wise to reveal his true strength before these old monsters. Mid-stage Nirvana Shatterer is indeed very strong. Just the origin energy contained in that spell is not something an early-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivator can deal with. The difference is like a young and a strong man. However, if I were to fight with my most powerful treasures, it's not like I would lose. What I need to prevent is Master Ashen Pine and that person from teaming up. Wang Lin's expression was calm. He didn't reveal the slightest clue as to what he was thinking. The old man with the face full of scars saw the whole battle. He silently turned the ring on his finger and his gaze occasionally swept past Master Ashen Pine. There was still that old woman in green who just calmly sat there with her eye closed. She didn't look at what happened at all, as if she was asleep. Time gradually passed. Day and night mixed together on this fog-covered wild continent. It was impossible to distinguish between night and day. After about 1 hour, a ray of sword energy flew in from the distance. This sword energy seemed extremely sharp and contained fierce sword energy. This sword energy didn't make the star fog move at all and directly pierced through toward the 5 of them. Before the sword energy got close, a sword pressure descended from the sky. This sword pressure contained an extremely tyrannical aura. Master Ashen Pine raised his head and smiled. There was a clang and the sword energy arrived. It stabbed into the earth before the elder named Pang. It was a 7-foot-long sword and was 2 fingers wide. It was white and shrouded in steam, and traces of cold energy spread out from it. The golden tassel on the sword hilt fluttered and stirred the void, causing ripples to appear above the sword. The ripples became even more violent and a person walked out. This person was short. At first glance, it looked like a boy. Looking closely, this person had twisted features and was as green as a ghost. He looked terrifying, and if a mortal saw him, they would die from terror. He stepped out from the ripples and sat down next to the sword. He was only half a head taller than the sword that was stabbed into the ground. What kind of map did you give me, Master Ashen Pine? It took me a long time to find this place. This person's voice was sharp. He gloomily looked at everyone and was startled when he saw Wang Lin, but he didn't say anything. Master Ashen Pine smiled even wider. Little brother Duanmu, you can't blame me for this. It is you who was unable to find this place. The child snorted and sharply said, You said that that place has reincarnation pills. Is it true? Master Ashen Pine nodded and said, It is 100% true. When I entered, I was only at the outer region and couldn't go deeper, but I saw a reincarnation pill. However, it was guarded by a fierce beast, so I couldn't obtain it. What fierce beast? A rank 12 fog dragon. The child silently pondered, then his eyes lit up. Reincarnation pill. When Wang Lin heard this, his expression remained neutral, but his heart was moved. However, he had never heard of the reincarnation pill before. Looking at Master Ashen Pine's expression, this reincarnation pill didn't seem to be the focus of his trip. While he pondered, Wang Lin's gaze swept past the boy. This boy was also a mid-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. The boy pondered for a moment and said to Master Ashen Pine, If we are not leaving, does that mean there is still one more? There is still one missing. Before Master Ashen Pine finished speaking, he suddenly raised his head and looked into the distance. At almost the same time, the boy and Master Cloud Soul looked up as well. Wang Lin clearly felt the earth tremble slightly. He looked over and saw a tall figure closing in on the wild continent from the fog. The figure got closer and closer until a large, burly man wearing purple was revealed. As he approached, the earth trembled even more violently. Countless small pieces of rubble flew everywhere. The moment this burly man closed in, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed and closely looked behind the burly man. There were fierce beasts following behind him. Although there weren't too many, there were still hundreds. However, their ranks weren't that high. In the blink of an eye, the burly man arrived everyone. He coldly looked at everyone and calmly said, "I have arrived." No one saw him make a move, but the moment he spoke, those hundreds of beasts began to roar, and the sound was earth-shattering. Some of the fierce beasts suddenly collapsed into a pile of flesh and blood. Soon, all the fierce beasts behind him collapsed and died. When these fierce beasts died, the earth was dyed red and the smell of blood became dense. At the same time, the souls of the beasts all gathered before the burly man and rapidly condensed. They eventually turned into a black vortex, and then the burly man pinched it with his right hand. The vortex immediately condensed into a black pill. The burly man devoured the pill in his hand and calmly said, "I came here, so I refined all the fierce beasts here." Battle Beast Sect. Master Cloud Soul's expression became serious and he clasped his hands at the burly man. He said, "I wonder who fellow cultivator is in the Battle Beast Sect. I'm Master Cloud Soul. I'm friends with the Honorable Master Bowtime." The boy's expression also became serious, and he clasped his hands at the burly man. "Master Bowtime is my senior brother. I'm Chen Jun." The burly man's voice was calm and there was a hint of pride in it. This person is at the early stage of Nirvana Shatara. But to be able to get the attention of all these mid-stage Nirvana Shatara old monsters means that aside from his sect, there is something else. More importantly, this Battle Beast Sect spell is interesting. Also, he said that he was already here, but no one noticed him. There is something strange. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze from the burly man. The Battle Beast Sect's hiding ability is indeed brilliant. I didn't realize Brother Chen was here at all. Master Ashenpine got up and laughed. Chen Tainjun nodded slightly and said, "Master Ashenpine, I was called by the rank 9 region and must hurry back to the sect. I don't have much time, so you must be quick." Master Ashenpine nodded, then his gaze swept everyone once and he said, "I'm very grateful that all of you could come. All of us will obtain something in this trip. None of you will walk away empty-handed." He paused for a moment before looking at Wang Lin and saying, "Fellow cultivator Lu, aside from the origin crystals, you can also choose a few treasures as my sign of gratitude." Wang Lin silently nodded. "I won't say any more. Once we are there, I'll give a detailed introduction. This way." After he finished speaking, he took a step and charged into the star fog. The elder named Pang followed closely after and the old woman in green followed. The Battle Beast Sect's Cheng Qianjun stepped forward and 2 strands of black gas turned into 2 eagle-like beasts as he followed. "Fellow cultivator Lu, this way." Master Cloud Soul looked at Wang Lin with a smile that wasn't a smile. Wang Lin's expression was calm and he flew forward. Master Cloud Soul flew at the rear and coldly looked at Wang Lin. The 6 of them formed 6 rays of light across space with Master Ashenpine leading the way. The starry sky was covered in fog as the 6 rays of light flew through the sky. Master Ashenpine seemed to be very familiar with this path. He didn't even take out a jade to check for directions, he just quickly flew toward the location. With his Nirvana Shatara cultivation, he was like a bolt of thunder when flying at full speed. Everyone behind him also used their full cultivation and flew faster. Wang Lin fell behind. After all, his real cultivation level was not Nirvana Shatara. He remained calm as he took out the talisman and placed it on his body. A gust of wind appeared around him and he charged out. They flew at full speed, and a few days later, the fog became even more dense. They were within the deepest part of the rank 5 region, and they could vaguely see the shadow of a wild continent. "Here it is." Master Ashenpine rushed out and got close to the wild continent. This wild continent wasn't big, but it had a lot of fierce beasts. Just standing above it, you could hear the constant roars of fierce beasts. Not many people know about this wild continent, and even those that know won't find the secret I hid here. Master Ashenpine smiled as he looked at the continent with reminiscence in his eyes. "Fellow cultivator Pang, I will trouble you to find all the cultivators on this wild continent and kill them all." Master Ashenpine looked at the old man with the face full of scars. The old man named Pang nodded and then disappeared. His divine sense spread out across the wild continent and he continued to search. He killed every cultivator he found, regardless of their cultivation level or sect. Wang Lin looked at the wild continent under his feet. He had a feeling that there was something wrong, but he couldn't tell what. At this moment, he squatted down and grabbed a handful of dirt to examine. The eyes of the old woman in green also lit up as she looked around and became serious. Master Cloud Soul looked at Wang Lin and sneered. The secret of this wild continent couldn't be seen through unless you had lived here for a long time. The boy also frowned as he looked around. No one knew what he was thinking. Only Chen Qianjun wasn't moved at all. He just sat there and cultivated with his eyes closed. It didn't take long for the old man named Pang to return. He nodded at Master Ashenpine but didn't speak. Master Ashenpine got a bit excited and let out a deep breath. Then his hands formed a seal and he waved his arms. Large amounts of origin energy suddenly gathered around him. It stirred up the fog and turned into a giant vortex before him. Master Ashenpine's white hair flowed without any wind. He let out a roar and both of his hands mercilessly pressed down on the earth. The earth trembled with a bang and endless rumbles echoed. As the earth trembled, crackling sounds could be heard. Cracks moved like dragons as they extended into the distance. The earth shook even more violently. A towering mountain to the east released a harsh glow. Then mountains in the north, south, and west sides also released similar lights. The lights from the four mountains became even stronger and immediately spread out. If one looked from above, they would see that the light from the four mountains linked together to form a four-mountain formation. The earth within the formation trembled and shattered, and gravel floated into the air. In the blink of an eye, it was as if a layer of earth had been scraped off from the area within the four mountains as even more gravel floated into the air. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed as he looked at the gravel flying into the air. The earth was as smooth as a mirror, there were no bumps or concaves at all. There was a giant rune hidden underground. The rune was imprinted on the earth with a spell and occupied a majority of the continent. The gravel was added later on to hide the rune. Looking at this gravel flying into the air and disappearing, Wang Lin felt like a bolt of lightning hit him. He looked at where the gravel was flying off to and was shocked. He thought of the reason why he felt like this place was strange. This wild continent was completely motionless. The continents in the Cloud Sea were not stationary, but slowly drifting across space. This movement was very slow and difficult to detect, but it existed. Mortals would never feel it, but after one reaches a certain cultivation level, they would vaguely feel it if they calmed down. Wang Lin wasn't a native cultivator of the Cloud Sea. His former star system was full planets and not these floating continents. As a result, this feeling became very clear to him. If it was a native cultivator, they could easily miss this matter. A motionless wild continent, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. There was not a single piece of gravel left remaining on the earth between the four mountains. Master Ashenpine sat down and his right hand reached at the void. A crack to his storage space opened and celestial jades flew out from inside. The moment they landed on the earth, all the celestial spiritual energy inside them was drained and they turned into dust. As the celestial jades continued to dissipate, the earth absorbed the dense celestial spiritual energy and the rune became even more clear. It gave off a gentle glow. After a short 15 minutes, more than 100,000 celestial jades were used. The rune became brighter and brighter until the entire wild continent was shining. Celestial formation, activate. Master Ashenpine roared, his voice like a thunder rumble. At this moment, the rune on the ground shined violently and there was an earth-shattering tremble. Wang Lin clearly felt that after the rune had absorbed enough celestial spiritual energy, it spread across the entire continent. The wild continent suddenly began to move. It wasn't trembling, but moving. This continent was moving to the north. It was a detectable movement, one could only imagine how fast it was moving. Not only Wang Lin, but the boy, Chen Qianjun, and the old woman in green were all shocked by this. They spread out their divine senses and carefully observed. As the rune shined, the continent moved even faster. As the rumbling continued, it completely moved away from where it was before. A seven-colored crack appeared where the center of the wild continent was. The crack wasn't very large, only 5 feet wide. The 7-colored light made this very small crack extremely conspicuous in space. This is... The boy gasped as he stared at the 7-colored crack and became excited. His features were already twisted, and now that he was excited, he was even more terrifying. What a big move! The burly man, Chen Tianjun from the Battle Beast sect, looked at Master Ashenpine before his gaze fell back on the 7-colored crack. This wild continent was originally not here. I accidentally passed through here just as the crack appeared. Afterward, in order to hide it, I moved a continent here to cover the crack up so outsiders wouldn't find it. Master Ashenpine smiled as he spoke. There was pride in his voice. The old woman in green looked at the crack and said, "Where does this 7-colored crack lead to?" "You'll know once we get there." Master Ashenpine laughed as he controlled the continent below them to move faster. In the blink of an eye, they were far from the crack. This crack isn't stable and can't be entered directly. If 2 of us enter it, it will collapse. Although it won't dissipate, it will shrink, making it difficult to return. Therefore, we must use this wild continent as a guide and smash our way in. That way, this crack won't collapse, and due to the seal on this continent, the impact will be a lot weaker when we return. As Master Ashenpine explained this, the 7-colored crack gradually disappeared into the distance. The continent under everyone's feet moved even faster, but it suddenly stopped. Master Ashenpine's hands formed a seal and pointed at the continent. The continent started moving even faster than before as it smashed toward the 7-colored crack. It moved faster and faster. In the blink of an eye, they reached the limit. The speed caused the continent to tremble violently, and large amounts of rocks fell off the edge. If you looked from above, you would clearly see that the speed of the continent wasn't any slower than a Nirvana Shatter cultivator. In fact, it was even faster. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the stars as the continent moved even faster. The people on the continent became serious as they stared at the 7-colored crack that was getting close. They were all on guard. Although this sounds slow, it all happened in an instant. The continent immediately crashed down into the 7-colored crack. At this moment, the 7-colored light intensified and seemed to light up the area. When the continent crashed, the crack seemed to have gotten ripped open by force and instantly became larger. "Go!" shouted Master Ashenpine as he charged out toward the crack. Everyone else also used their full speed and entered the crack. At this moment, the only 2 people outside were Master Cloud Soul and Wang Lin. Master Cloud Soul coldly looked at Wang Lin and Wang Lin let out a cold snort in his heart, but he headed straight for the crack. However, just as he was about to enter the crack, there was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes and he suddenly looked back. Master Cloud Soul's eyes narrowed. At the moment Wang Lin turned back, his right hand reached at the void and an iron sword suddenly appeared in his hand. It was covered in rust, but it was an iron sword that contained a heaven-shaking aura. This video will end here.